So I wanted to ask a question, I think, that starts out with some figures that were given by Professor Clayton and mentioned by Mr. Sweeney. The one I didn't see is the one that says that the production of CO2 outputs in the air, and that's a significant amount. So the production of cement is a problem. In Jamaica, we're building a lot with concrete, so we use a lot of cement. We make cement here. We are considering enacting this new building code because it is so important for us to get the energy equation right. And yet, in reviewing the proposed building code this evening, I saw where the code is all for cement, all for steel. And then when I went to a session about building in wood or building in other materials, the ability to really experiment, to do as Build Better Jamaica is saying, that we need to explore other ways. The code either prohibits it or is completely silent. For example, the section that says building in timber says it doesn't apply. Now, I don't understand what it does not apply mean. Because I take that to mean that we can't build in wood anymore. We can't frame our roof in wood because the building code doesn't apply. I just wanted to get some clarity to see, are we really serious and are we really getting our, lining up properly? And are we really seriously considering what we're saying? Are we really following through in doing what we're saying? Yes? Finish? That's it.
And this for anybody, right?
Anybody.
All right. Is it on? Yes. I think that's a great question. And let me say a couple of things. And I did clarify to myself earlier. There's often sometimes some confusion between how it is that contributes to the CO2 emissions. The main thing is the energy that's required to generate. I'll tell you, for instance, that the cement company is JP's single largest customer. Okay, their bill is in hundreds of millions of dollars per month, right? And so I raise the point because when as we go about our premises and people say, I want a black and steel house, or I'm buying a house with drywall partitioning and all these things, it has an impact in terms of demand for the product. And so that's one. But going back to the second part of your question about the code is not meant to tell you how to build your house. It is meant to provide a guide and a standard that if you are going to build a block wall, if you are going to build a concrete wall, if you are going to do a form, a roofing, foundation, etc., this is how it should be done. So, the main idea is that once the architect is engaged, the architect will tell you what materials to use where based on where how it is that you would like to have it designed, how it is you want to interact with the environment, and then there's only a code that helps to set the standards of acceptance, not only in practice but in law, which is what we're battling for in terms of how the design should be carried out. And so I don't want to give the impression that the code is there to say no longer any wood or any concrete, because that comes with your design professional. The code is only there to set the standard.
Right.
Yes,
right.
I would just interject that I think that the part, and I'm not sure specifically what part you're referring to, but the intention is in the code to restrict certain types of building uses to be constructed out of wood. So I don't think it is that the code itself does not allow construction out of wood, but in special instances, depending on being constructed out of wood. I think the wider issue, however, is that what you've raised is that we need to become, as building professionals, a lot more familiar with the new building code. And we need to spend a lot of time as professionals educating ourselves as to the usage and the application of these documents. Having spent the past 6 months going through a lot of these a lot of the building code documents, it is evident to me that it is even more evident to me that we need continued education about the use of the building code and its applications. I think that's something that we have to address as a professional body. One final thought on the use of wood. I think one of the interesting things is that some of the green building rating systems, and I think Heather mentioned the International Green Construction Code, start to look at the embodied energy that goes into a product. And that is the direction that we need to be moving in, because we need to start looking at what is actually the true cost or true carbon cost of a material that we're using. So I think there are opportunities. We have an opportunity to start looking at those type of legislation and rating systems and advanced codes.
We're going to
Entry. We can understand whether a building has met code or is substandard. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important that the building code gets passed and we become more familiar and begin to adopt and use the code. So I just want to support that.
We are talking to our other ministries. I have also given to our political system, and of course it's very deeply compromised by networks of patronage, which make it very difficult to move to a meritocratic awarding of contracts. You look at a system, you look at a country like ours, and you look at how we're falling down the world league table in competitiveness. We're actually falling faster than any other country in the world down the world league table. And people look around and say, how can that be happening? I don't see things getting worse so quickly. But of course what's happening is that other countries are prospering and pulling ahead and developing, and we're not. We've been on a low growth path for over 40 years. We moved from the highest growth trajectory in the world in its time. We were growing at 4.5% per annum on average through the 1950s and 1960s. 1972, we moved onto a low growth path and we've never got off it. If we had stayed on the high growth path, then by today, the economy of Jamaica would be almost 10 times bigger than it is. We'd be almost on a par with Singapore. Until 1972, we were ahead of Singapore. A lot of people don't realise that. So why is it that we cannot fix these problems? Why is it that this country's got one of the highest homicide rates in the world, when we know the solutions to that problem? Why is it we have got one of the world's lowest levels of energy productivity, when we know the solution to that problem too? We really do seem to have built a decision-making process which is completely paralysed by political tribalism, by networks of patronage. And so even when you have good people, and we do have some very good people in public life, it's very hard for them to break out of this pattern and make decisions which are in the national interest, in the interests of the people. So maybe what we have to at some point do is think about how we can fix our system of governance so we can actually then fix this country.
You can leave my one on the table. Leave my one on the table.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to congratulate the team for the wonderful work that is being done, and to indicate that Honorable Minister, because we would love to have him here this evening. However, he is debating a climate change motion in Parliament this evening. So I have been asked basically to represent the ministry as the focal point for climate change. Just want to indicate as well that there's a climate change policy framework and action plan that is before Parliament currently and will be soon promulgated. This will also take into consideration work that has been done in Jamaica's Jamaica's first national communication to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and the second national communications to the UNFCCC. We're about to start work on the third national communication as well. That will help to determine both adaptation and mitigation options that Jamaica can take in order to mitigate against climate change and to adapt to the impacts of climate change. Suffice to say that the most honorable Prime Minister found it quite timely to have established a ministry portfolio with climate change to show the seriousness of the government of Jamaica to tackling the impacts of climate change and to reducing the emissions of CO2. So there's some work that is going on, and this work will also timely inform whatever the plans are as we move forward as a nation. There's a lot to be done for one of the most vulnerable small island developing states to the impact of climate change, and we need to move now. As the Minister says, with climate change, we must change. Thank you very much.
Any more questions?
Good evening, Richard Backman.
Hello? To answer your first question, all of our information is available online, and as soon as we're completed here, our presentations will be uploaded as well. Our website is buildbetterjamaica.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Okay?
I just see the answers to a second part of the report.
Well, you see, really, though the title is Developing Design Concepts, it starts with the concepts from everything related to the built environment. So it really, as the components I told you about, are the components that the project was broken into as we got it. This is something that we're working further in developing. As I said, there is a prototype building now going to be developed, which will look in more detail at materials, construction types, and that kind of detailed information. This project looked a lot more at policy and at a technical review of planning and development, a review of the related legislation, as I've said, the building codes, the ERA. So it looked at climate change resilient buildings at that level. But for the second phase of this project, we tend to get into far more detailed, actual products and retrofit ideas and detailed design ideas.
What I really like to touch on is the rating systems that you mentioned. And what we have found in our research is that obviously we're all in agreement. The building code needs to be put in place. And once that is in place, we know that there are add-on codes which address sustainability, green issues, specifically the International Green Construction Code, which is designed to work with the model codes that were used to form the Jamaica National Building Code. So we have a natural progression from the building code that we have. We love it to be updated, first of all, from the 2003 versions to the 2009 or 2012 versions. And then we would flow into something like the International Green Construction Code, which would mandate even greater levels of energy efficiency, use of materials. It's a much more advanced step. Following on that, we've suggested that the next logical step is the green rating system.